All right, so in a lot of gyms, people are starting in combat base and then seated, right, for space reasons or whatever. We're gonna talk about pulling guard from there, where we get a sleeve grip, and collar grip, and we're gonna make sure that our foot goes on the hip, on the knee that's on the ground, right? Doesn't make kind of sense to try and jam it up here where there's no space, plus he has a free hand to mess it away with, okay? Here we want to tilt to the side and open their elbow up with our leg, and then we pull them in, lock our closed guard. With these grips, we want our elbows in tight to our torso, so they're strong, not out here where they're weak. So I am pulling down on Jack to get a reaction. I want to see if he's gonna pull back on me, which he is. As he pulls back on me, I'm going to sit up with him. So go ahead, Jack, pull up. I sit up and I put my kickstand behind me, right? And I'm pushing my hips up onto his hips. My butt's off the ground. And I'm coming over top of this arm, okay? I'm grabbing his arm. And now if Jack continues to give me this sensation like he's trying to get away from me and pull back, I'm going to bump my hips, cave right along this nice flat part of his shin here, and knock him over. And then settling my hips, threading my legs if I have to, and coming low to secure the mount position while he freaks out. Okay? Obtaining the sweep. So, you pull guard. And notice when you're trying to keep somebody's hand off the floor, you always want your elbow and your hand underneath their hand, right? So you can't put it down, right? So I open him up, pull him in. Again, elbows pinched. This time he sits up. I come up, right? And I lock to him. This time I don't feel Jack wanting to go backwards. I feel him trying to push into me. So I feel him pushing in. I'm now the structure. My arm back here is the structure he's relying on for stability. I feel that push, and I really feel he commits to it. Boom! I take the structure away from him, turning my torso, exposing his arm, bringing my leg over his back to prevent a forward roll. We grab the hand here. The wrist is good, but it's too hard to manipulate. He can't spin. If I grab his hand, he can't spin his hand and manipulate his wrist. Grab my own wrist, covered by watch. I'm keeping his hand right now chambered in my hip, and I'm pinching his elbow to my chest and pinching my elbow down into his shoulder. Come over here, bro. Now, what makes this move, this hold so effective is the pressure with my knee down, my elbow down in his shoulder, and I'm looking at the mat. So as Jack tries to sit up, he's fighting a ton of pressure just from me holding him alone. This looking is super important because it turns my torso. My body goes where my head goes. Pressure, right? Pinched in, pinched in. And then if I want to tap him, it's a simple, small turn of the hand. Small push of the hand and he taps, okay? So that's scenario number 2, right? Scenario number 3. Pinched in elbows, remember, pinched in, too weak out here. Pinched in, he sits up. When I sit up to him, he pushes on my ribs and my hips. He won't let my hips come up onto his hips, okay? So what we're gonna do is, again, he's pushing and when he's coming forward, so I'm gonna have to collapse. But before I do that, I change my grip to this side and I go in deep looking for that tag back here with my fingers. And then I collapse him down and I look for his sleeve here. Now, Jack is going to want, as I pull down, he's gonna want to get up again from me. But this time he's pushing, he's keeping my hips flat down. This is where we turn our hips. And I want those hands on my hips because now I can manipulate them. I bring my knee in. Now if he tries to drive into me, go ahead, drive. I got a nice wedge in here. He can't come in, right? And I'm keeping my under grip, pulling his hand towards my head. And then look, I go down, I feel the forward momentum. Boom. I'm taking him forward and sideways because that's where he wants to go. My nice deep grip back on the tag is still here. I have 2 things to attack. I can attack his throat or I can attack his arm. If I attack his arm, my knee comes up and I pull the shoulder off the ground and block it with my knee. Go backwards now, Jack. He can't go back because he's wedged in here now. And then I could finish the arm bar simply with my hips if I really wanted to, okay? Or if he fights that elbow back to the ground, I come way out Bring it in like Rafael Lovato. Grab. Saddle for the choke. End of video.